stand by. Roll Fran Talkington, Johnson Baby Shampoo.
You know, when I wore a football suit, I had to shampoo every day. So I used Johnson's. Now that I'm wearing these, I still use Johnson's every day. Doesn't make sense to use anything harsh. Johnson's cleans gently. Everybody can tell you about no more tears, but I can tell you it won't dry out my hair. Leaves it looking thick and healthy. Get Johnson's Baby Shampoo from Johnson & Johnson. It's gentle enough to use every day.
Dick Enberg for Al McGuire and Billy Packer with a reminder, more great college basketball action follows this game, except in the Pacific 10 area, you're going to see UCLA and Notre Dame, one of the great intersectional rivalries in college basketball. And tomorrow, nationwide, it'll be LSU meeting DePaul in Chicago. It's north against south, LSU DePaul tomorrow. And right after this game, except in the Pacific 10 area, the UCLA Bruins and the Irish of Notre Dame.
I'm Rich Falk, head basketball coach at Northwestern University. Tune in next week when we host the Michigan Wolverines in the Big Ten Basketball Game of the Week.
And Fred and I are looking forward to being there to do that ball game. That'll be next Saturday, Michigan and Northwestern, 3:30 Eastern Time, right here on NBC in association with TBS. Now going to the top scorers of the Big Ten, and no change to the number 1 and 2 spots.
That's right. Joe Barry-Carroll has scored 112 points, but as you can see, it's very close. Jay Vincent has scored 111. Now the next 6 really, are very close. It just jumbled up a little bit. The important statistic, I think, is the fact that all 8 people combined are shooting better than 51% from the floor and 76% from the free throw line.
Well, let's go to the Player of the Week award. And the Big Ten Player of the Week award goes to a fellow you're watching today. Number 44 of the Minnesota Golden Gophers, Kevin McHale. This 6'11", 200-pound senior had 2 outstanding games a week ago, in which he scored 52 points, had 19 rebounds, shot 60% from the floor, 80% from the free throw line in the Gophers' wins over Illinois and Wisconsin. The Big Ten Player of the Week is Minnesota's Kevin McHale. Well, here at halftime, it is Purdue 29, Minnesota 34. Minnesota led by as many as 8 about 3 or 4 times, and Purdue kept cutting the margin a bit, and so Purdue is still right in the ball game at halftime with Minnesota on top by 5. So in the second half, well, I think we'll see more scoring from Joe Barry-Carroll, at least if Purdue can get the ball to him a little more often and he can find that touch. But Joe Barry closed with a pretty good rush in that as we neared the end of the first half. You know, every week on NBC's College Basketball, we'll feature one of our Big Ten schools. Let's listen to a report now about energy from the University of Minnesota.
One of the major problems of this decade and the next is energy. And one way the University of Minnesota is developing solutions is with research into underground and earth-sheltered housing. It's a concept many people are working on. Use the insulating and heat-retaining qualities of the earth to reduce the fuel consumed in both heating and cooling our homes and working places. In places like Minnesota, buildings above ground are exposed to temperatures of sometimes more than 100 degrees in the summer and often more than 30 degrees below zero in winter, a range of more than 130 degrees. The temperature underground stays close to 50 degrees all year round, so buildings surrounded by earth are cool in summer and require much less energy to heat in winter. This is Williamson Hall, a new underground bookstore and administration building at the University of Minnesota. With Williamson Hall, the university is discovering how to make underground housing practical, pleasant, and energy efficient, how to use the sun for heat and natural light, how to use green growing things for beauty and shade. Williamson Hall is just the first major underground project at the University of Minnesota. What is being learned here is being used in the design and construction of a new civil and mineral engineering building to be completed in 2 or 3 years. Excavation has begun. The site will be mined to a depth of 110 feet. 80 feet below campus at the university's underground space, a test room has been cut into the limestone and shale. Research here has given us answers about excavation problems, moisture, and other conditions deep under the earth. Much more will be learned in the next few years. Earth-sheltered housing is an old idea, but because it so efficiently replaces and stretches our diminishing energy resources, its time has come again.
They come out of nowhere. They come from everywhere. They challenge themselves. They challenge the world. They give their best to be the best. But they can't do it without your help. because America doesn't send athletes to the Olympics. Americans do. Send your contribution to the U.S. Olympic Committee, Box 1980T, Cathedral Station, Boston. For $25 or more, you'll receive this lovely Olympic tote bag. This message sponsored by the U.S. Olympic Committee and NBC.
We'll return to college basketball after these messages from your local station.
Death Penalty, a world premiere. David Lapiosa, 15-year-old killer facing the electric chair.
But he's just a child.
Colleen Dewhurst, the teacher who fought to make him want to live.
I'm ready to burn, okay? In fact, you can bring my mother, she can watch.
And took on the system to give him the chance.
We can't let him die.
Inspired by a true story, Tuesday.
Basketball is being brought to you by Motorcraft. All kinds of parts for all kinds of cars. Motorcraft, for sure. By the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. By Texaco, with over 66,000 employees doing their best at their jobs to keep your trust. And by Noxzema. The closer you shave, the more you need the medicated comfort of Noxzema Shave Cream.
You head out in the morning on a sea of silver, and for 12 long hours you haul your catch from the deep, cold grip of the water, until a moment comes when the sun starts to drop, and you can head for a warm, dry place and Miller time.
If you've got the time.
Time for the best tasting beer you can find.
We've got the beer.
America's quality beer since 1855, Miller High Life.
Miller tastes too good to hurry through. When it's time to relax, one beer stands clear. Beer after beer. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller beer.
Motorcraft battery, it's alright. Saved my life one dreadful night when I told Big Dutch I wanna fight. He said, how about now? He broke a table over a chair. I went from a coupe to go anywhere. My lights had been on while I was there. Motorcraft, don't fail me now. I turned the key as he came to the door. My Motorcraft made the engine roar. Then I heard Big Dutch as he snapped and swore. Gonna get me a Motorcraft battery for sure. Motorcraft, for sure.
It was a season for upsets and underdogs, hot dogs and heroes, and Sports World will recap the past year in the NFL tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern.
Minnesota leads Purdue 34-29 at halftime. You know, Fred, last year Purdue shot 84% in the second half against Minnesota in the ball game. It looks like the Minnesota
repaying in kind right now. The thing of it is, Purdue is losing to Minnesota only in total number of wins among all the other teams in the league. Minnesota has an edge of 56-55, and they have not won up here in the 70s as much as they've lost. So this has always been a tough place for Purdue to play.
Minnesota hit 15 out of 21 field goal attempts, 71.4% from the field in the first half. Second half coming up. McHale and Joe Barry Carroll. And Joe Barry gets the tip. Mike Scarce is starting the second half, along with Stallings on the back line for Purdue. Brian Walker dislocated the little finger on his right hand. He did come back as Joe Barry Carroll is fouled by Kevin McHale. He did come back before the first half ended, but
there's a pass into Joe Barry Carroll. Now Kevin bumped him right there with his chest before he ever made a move.
And so Purdue will inbound the ball to Joe Barry Carroll. Stallings, Kevin, a sophomore out of Collinsville, Illinois, by way of Belleville Junior College. Rebounded out of there by the Gophers. Taken out by Zeb Howell. Almost turned over, however, but saved by Gary Holmes, number 42. Mark Hall, Zeb Howell, Tucker, Trent Tucker, Kevin McHale. That's Tucker from way outside. 12 points for Trent Tucker as Minnesota goes up 36-29 in the first minute of the second half. Merle Herman and Fred Taylor with you. Minnesota
started and had both two possessions in a man defense. They zone.
Scaris on the follow. Holmes rebounds.
Two really good plays, Merle. Two block shots.
Hall to Howell. Hall drives and scores, banking it in hard. That's his first bucket of the day. Mark Hall, a sophomore from Springfield, Mass. 38-29, the biggest lead of the day for Minnesota. Purdue and Minnesota both have switched defenses as Arnett Hallman goes into the crowd and is fouled. Brian Walker is coming in now for Purdue, number 20.
Joe Barry turns over his left shoulder, is blocked by Kevin McHale, comes loose. Mike Scaris gets it off of 33. Then when he goes up, 33 blocks it. And number 42, Gary Holmes, comes down with it.
Foul was on Trent Tucker, his second. Mike Scaris, Keith Edmondson, Brian Walker, he's back in. Edmondson out of the key, will not go down for him. McHale had the ball knocked out of his hands, out of bounds. It'll be Minnesota's ball. Kevin McHale, the second highest scorer in Gopher history, to one Michael Thompson. Minnesota ahead by 9. Hall. McHale traveled. You can hear the Purdue bench to the right. Walk. Jim Dutcher, the mild-mannered Jim Dutcher with Jimmy Williams as assistant on the Minnesota bench. They've been a great combination. Lee Rose has signboards that he holds up for his team. And Arnett Hallman gets it down. That's 12 points for Arnett Hallman. Only 4 men have scored for Purdue. 38-31 Minnesota.
Purdue's offense against the man has changed a little bit. They're trying to isolate Hallman, coming from the backside. Reverse the ball to him and then flashing Joe Barry low on the same side.
Tucker, Hall, McHale driving down the lane. 12 points for Kevin McHale. 40-31 Minnesota.
Starting Joe Barry in a high post. Bring the ball down, reverse it.
Scaris, Joe Barry Carroll over McHale, short of the mark, rebounded out of there, and cleared away by number 32, or 42 rather, Gary Holmes. McHale, Brian Walker saved it, clears it out to Hallman. Here come the Boilermakers. Keith Edmondson, Mike Scaris, good fake. Now he has the shot, and it will go for him. McHale after the rebound. Edmondson winds up with it, and a foul is called on number 33, Zeb Howell. That'll be his first and the third team foul against the Gophers in this half.
Comes off the deck. Joe Barry gets a piece of it with his left hand. Kevin McHale bats it away. It's on the deck now. There, number 33, Zeb Howell, reaches in and fouls Keith Edmondson.
Ball is inbounded to Edmondson. Arnett Hallman, good turnaround shot by Hallman. Hallman, remember, is playing with a leg bruise, and he has 14 points. As Minnesota comes right back, and that's a technical on Howell, hanging on the rim. He gets the basket, also gets a technical for hanging on the rim.
Here's the breakaway, the pass. He goes in and shoots it. Now watch him. He doesn't hang on a ring, but he grasps it. And the rule states that you can't grab the ring. Grasp it. You don't have to swing or anything else.
Well, Lee Rose has had his own Joe Barry Carroll call for many technicals this year, and he has been more than a bit upset about it. In fact, he was commenting on it last night. Mike Scaris will shoot the technical for Purdue. Now Purdue will get the ball. (42-33) Purdue with the ball, but trailing in the game. Keith Edmondson, a sophomore out of San Antonio, Texas, handling the ball for the Boilermakers. Minnesota in an aggressive man-to-man. Now Scares pops it up there and it won't go down. And we've got a whistle and a foul. The foul is on Zeb Howell, number 33. That'll be his second foul of the half. Second of the game and the fourth team foul against Minnesota. Mike Scares, a sophomore from Lexington, Kentucky, is on the line. He'll have a pair. Scares with 5 points. At halftime, Minnesota led 34-29. He got them both. 2 out of 3 in this half. 42-35, Minnesota. Trent Tucker takes it across against Keith Edmondson. Purdue going man-to-man now. Hall drives the baseline, tries to lay it off to McHale. McHale wound up with the ball. Clears it to Tucker. And almost stolen by Brian Walker. He broke up the play, and it's picked up by Purdue as Scares comes up with it, leaves it to Walker. Here come the Boilermakers, who are very aggressive in that situation and come up with the ball. Arnett Hallman, who's been the highest scorer for Purdue with 14. Scares from the outside, off the rim. And McHale battling for the rebound, but here is Scares with it. Works into Carroll, back to Scares, off the baseline, he's got it. And now Purdue is starting to come back strong. And Minnesota's lead has been cut to 5.
Minnesota's giving up the extra shot.
Let's see if
much more aggressive.
Let's see if Minnesota goes back to the zone the next possession down court for Purdue. Tucker hits the key. Zeb Howell, or Holmes rather. Now Howell, and Howell is up the hill. Purdue aggressively working the boards as Holman pulls it down. 14 and a half minutes to go in the game. Minnesota 42, Purdue 37. Minnesota going to stay man. And take it away. Deflection. Here come the Gophers. Hall break. Hall shoots. He's got it. Mark Hall driving from the left side and scoring. And we've got a whistle. And the foul is on Scares on a blocking violation. Coming into the game will be Drake Morris now for Purdue. Mike Scares.
Here's the drive. Mark Hall takes it in. Right there. Good play. Good control. And Mike Scares fouls him. Opportunity for a three-point play. Brian Walker made a run at him and tried to make him change his delivery on the ball.
So here is Mark Hall with 2 field goals in this half, driving and misses the free throw, and Joe Barry Carroll rebounds it. Incidentally, if you're getting a flashing effect on your screen from time to time, it is not your set. It is a technical problem that is being worked on. Will be cleared up. Minnesota back to the zone. All right, Hallman from the outside, and he's got it for Purdue, and that's 6 for him and 16 for the game. I understand that the strobe lights that are being used here in Williams Arena are causing the flashing, and as long as they are used, you will continue to get the flashing on your screen. So it's a technical problem not by our television crew, but by the strobe lights. All right, ball knocked out of bounds, and we'll have a timeout with 13:37 to go in the game. Minnesota 44 and Purdue 39.
You can feel us coming now, a fresh look on the scene, with a whole new style of living, light and crisp and clean. That's why now we say the age of 7-Up is here, cause we love that crisp, refreshing taste, so light and crystal clear. Move it up, look it up, America is turning 7-Up, reaching up, feel it up. America is turning 7-Up.
Who do you share the power with? The power of Vitalis Super Hold, the pump.
With Tom every morning.
I share it with Jill.
We share the power of the pump. Vitalis Super Hold. The pump keeps our hair looking terrific. Why should women settle for less power when they can get the holding power of the pump? It can hold longer than the leading men's aerosol.
Come
Come on. It's better when you share.
Get the pump, Vitalis Superhold, and share the power.
Usually, when a family comes to their State Farm agent for life insurance, we already know them pretty well. We've usually worked with them on other kinds of insurance, and we have a pretty good idea of the protection they'll need. We've helped them in the past. They feel real comfortable with us, and we're going to help them if they have a problem. They know us. They trust us. We're going to be here tomorrow.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's life insurance, the State Farm way.
In 21 of its last 22 games, Lee Rose Purdue Boilermakers have stopped the opponents to below a 50% shooting average from the field. But that wasn't the case in the first half today, as Minnesota burned the Boilermakers for a 71% of shooting from the field in the first half.
Your defensive grant or shooting percentage is a very important feature of it.
Minnesota with the ball in a 44-39 lead. Purdue defensively as McHale goes over the top of Joe Barry Carroll. They hit the boards hard. Joe Barry clears it out to Walker. The whistle stops play, and we've got a foul called against the Minnesota Golden Gophers as the Boilermakers wound up with an easy shot, but a foul was called on number 30, Darrell Mitchell, who is now in the game for Minnesota. That is a 15th foul against the Gophers, one against Purdue.
That's right. I was going to say, Merle, that's going to play a factor here.
Minnesota going back to his own now. Purdue operated well against the man-to-man, but Gophers go back getting a look at the Giants. When they spread those arms out, and Brewer is now in 45, it's tough. Brewer and McHale are both in there for the Golden Gophers. Edmondson loses the ball. Mitchell for the solo. He is fouled by Edmondson. The second team foul against Purdue. That could be a costly turnover, too.
There's Darrell Mitchell. They shake the ball loose right here. Now, watch Darrell Mitchell take it up, and Keith Edmondson bangs him right at the basket there. Turns his back underneath.
Gary Holmes has come back into the ball game for Minnesota, number 42, and Zeb Howell, 33, goes out. Darrell Mitchell with 4 points is on the free throw line. 44-39. Still 44-39. Hallman clears it out. Purdue has the ball. 12:48 to play in the game. Next week we'll be down at Northwestern. Michigan Wolverines against the Wildcats. Joe Barry Carroll, the alley-oop stuffer from Brian Walker. That's 11 points for Joe Barry Carroll, considerably under his average.
Earl, if they're going to lob, they're going to have to do it from out on top like that, because they can't do it from the side because of the size against the passer.
Darrell Mitchell control of the ball, and now Purdue can come within one with a field goal. Coming back in for Minnesota, number 32, Trent Tucker, and going to the bench is Darrell Mitchell. Tucker out of Flint, Michigan, a sophomore. Walker, that's Drake Morris. Brian Walker at the top against the zone. Edmondson, Walker, Edmondson, he takes the shot, but it will not count. We had a 3-second violation against Purdue, and a very costly violation for Purdue. They got the bucket and lost it because somebody was in the lane too long. And the mild-mannered Lee Rose on the bench. But I want to tell you something. He might be mild-mannered, but he can really get it going, too. 44-41, Minnesota by 3. Near the 12-minute mark to play. Kevin McHale lays it off to Tucker. He goes from long range, maybe too long, and a whistle stopping play into the board. Foul is on Joe Barry Carroll. That'll be his third. Also the third team foul of the half against the Boilermakers.
Joe Barry Carroll reaches in across Randy Brewer and fouls him.